This is Mind Your Body, a dance movement therapy perspective on the integration of our emotional, cognitive, physical, and spiritual aspects of our being into one more aware and whole existence. Hi, it's Orit. Welcome back to Mind Your Body. Today I am doing a solo episode here on how to really give yourself permission to be you through dance therapy. Because I know from personal experience, I know from working with my clients that most people have not given themselves permission to be themselves authentically. There are so many shoulds and expectations and a lot of unresolved trauma that's going on that makes people so disconnected from their bodies that they don't even know what they truly want. They don't even really know what it means to have, to be themselves. I recently asked this question in my free Facebook group, The Lasting Love Movement, and I asked something along the lines of, how has trauma made you disconnect from your true self? And do you even know who your true self is? And so many people responded, no, I don't even know who that is. I'm not even sure what that means anymore, because they've put up so many layers of protection that it's covering up who they really are. And so many people who've experienced past trauma, and I did this myself for so long, they kind of think that, oh, this is the way I am. I'm just irritable. I'm guarded. I can't open my heart. I can't connect well with people. They make these definitive decisions about their identity and decide that, oh yeah, this is my personality. This is how I am and I can't change. And that's so not true. Those are trauma patterns that are taking over behavior and the way that you connect to people in the world. And because of this intense fear of being hurt again, of wanting to prevent anything remotely hurtful, painful from the past happening again, these are trauma responses. And so what happens a lot of times is we try to fit ourselves into these boxes or these ways of being that really aren't ourselves, but just to be recognized or just to fit in. I was just speaking to a client I'm working with now, and she's like, I've never fit in. From the moment I was born, I've had these medical issues and these allergies. I wasn't allowed to have, this chocolate that my siblings were having. I was put on all these restrictions. And she had experienced a lot more trauma through her life of always having this, I can never really be me. And why can't I just fit in now? And I asked her, what about embracing what makes you different? What makes you unique and even weird? I love that. Embrace your weird. I always knew. There was always a part of me that knew I was weird. I didn't fit in with a lot of people either. I always felt like I was the one who was pushed out and excluded from these groups of people, and, in school and even in my own family, I really kind of felt like a reject. I felt like the odd one out. And I fought that for so long. I tried to do what I could to fit in, tried to wear the right clothes, tried to wear different clothes and fit in with the different people. I tried to follow a path that, everyone else was following. And so there's all these ideas of who I should be. And maybe then I'll be happy. Maybe then I'll find love. Maybe then I'll be understood and seen. But how could anyone else understand you if you don't understand yourself? If you're fighting against who you really are just to try to be like everyone else? And it really wasn't until I became a dance therapist and I was going through my graduate school training, where we weren't dance therapy clients, but we were practicing dance therapy to learn it, to be therapists, and also being part of dance therapy program as a client. It wasn't until I had these experiences where I could really start embracing my weird and really own and love who I am. Those memories still hurt, some of the memories still kind of hurt and sting a little bit when I was left out or made fun of, and that I didn't quite fit in anywhere I went. But now I've had these body and movement experiences that I still have often, of how like weird, different, and unique I am. And the more I own it, the more I embrace it, the more the universe is kind of like a mirror back to me. And I meet people who will say, there's something different about you. There's something unique about you. And I'll get that confirmation from other people as well. And what made dance therapy the thing that helped me really soften into my truest version of myself, to, blossomed and emerge into the truest version of myself, is that I physically owned who I was. I spent more than 3 years in talk therapy, and I was spending all that time sitting on a couch with my legs up. I always have my legs up in therapy. Unless I thought, ooh, my therapist might judge me for having my legs up. Just how often I sat, how many hours I sat with my therapist, and I talked about things that felt, important and true. And I could kind of start owning myself in that way. But as like a physical entity, I still was just sitting. I wasn't moving. I wasn't really expressing myself to my truest potential. We can't do that sitting in an office talking, or sitting somewhere talking. Our bodies are the vehicle for which we express ourselves, interact, and move and behave in this world. And if our bodies are just kind of disconnected or frozen or numb, even if we are able to really express who we are through words, then we haven't reached our full potential of being ourselves. And in dance therapy, when you're doing this in a group setting, in a safe container, within a therapeutic relationship that's safe, establishing the relationships in the group that are safe, then you can take the kinds of risks that you can't take anywhere else in life. So one thing that I always think about is that in my group dance therapy experience, one thing I always had trouble with in my life is being just really directly showing anybody, that I really wanted to connect with them. I would always have my guard up. I would kind of play hard to get, not just romantically, but in all of my relationships. And so I would just kind of like either stand and wait for someone to approach me, or I would kind of make a beeline on the way to somebody else. Like if I was at a party and there was this person I knew I wanted to talk to, I would, that would be my end goal, but I would go to the chips, and I would get some food, and I would go to the bathroom. And this whole time I'd be thinking about how I just want to talk to this person, but I couldn't just go with my needs and go there. And this party example is just a really small example, but this was my life all the time, never allowing myself to be really direct with what I want, never allowing myself to just get it, because I was so afraid of hurt and rejection. And so in this group therapy experience that I was in that changed my life, I could take that risk now because we built these safe relationships. We had already started taking smaller risks together. And so somewhere along the way, I was ready for this big, big risk. And I knew I wanted to connect with a certain person in the group. I just knew it. That just came to me as soon as the group started. And so this was a space where it's like you could move however you want. And you can make whatever choices you want with your body. And just, if I wanted to go and ask someone for a high five, I could do that. So this was the experience of dance therapy that we had. It was like this space is safe. It's contained. We're holding the space for you. But right now you can do whatever you want, and it's up to you and your interactions, your relationships to meet someone with that high five, or you could turn away. That's how open the structure was. That's how comfortable we were all in this process at this point. And so I knew I wanted to connect with this person, and I made a straight line to her. That was so scary for me. I've never done that before in my life. I made a straight line to her, and I reached out my hand because I wanted to connect. That was so scary because there was a purpose in my habit, in my pattern to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to the gyps and now I'm going to the bathroom. Oh, hey, yeah, how are you? It's like, okay, I just happened to stumble here and talk to you. You don't know that I've been really wanting to talk to you this whole time. I just happened to be in the same area, so I'm just going to start a conversation. That's so much less riskier than being like, I came here to talk to you. I really want to connect with you. Because if that person doesn't want to connect with me, that would be the end of the world for me. So in this dance therapy experience, I went directly to her. I reached out my hand, and she reached her hand back. She wanted to connect back, and that was so amazing. That was a beautiful experience in itself. However, then I was like, oh no, but what if now she leaves before I want to leave? What if she ends this interaction before I do? I'm still going to feel rejected. What do I do? And so she did leave. She did leave before I wanted to. And it was okay. It was actually okay, because we had many instances in this group therapy experience before where this had come up so much of like, okay, we're interacting. Who's going to pull away first? What's it going to feel like? I'm scared if they pull away, they're going to reject me. And I've come to learn through these very tangible physical experiences that they're just making the choice that's right for them at the moment. And it's not personal to me at all. And through that trust and these healthy relationships that we were building in this container, we could take these risks, these emotional, relational risks, and which turned into express like these risks in expressing ourselves. All right, well now, today in this group therapy experience, I really feel my body calling me to be a wild lion who wants to roar. Okay, that might feel crazy. I don't know why, but I can go with it. Like, this is what my body wants me to do. This is how I want to express myself today. And it's safe to do that here. So I'm going to do that. And then the things that come from it. So we're in this safe container together in this group. And so I'm roaring. And then someone else roars back. And it's like, wow. I had this weird, crazy idea to roar like a lion. I was extremely petrified of rejection or criticism, being made fun of. And you roared back. You met me in my weird expression. And then it turns into this roaring, I don't know what you would call it, but this coming together of different animals. And now we're in a zoo. And now this whole different thing is happening where we're being so weird together. And it feels so good because no one gives a shit. Excuse my language. No one cares. We can be whoever we want. We can do whatever we want. Who cares if this is not something people do? And that experience, that tangible physical experience in dance therapy of being whoever the hell we want, expressing ourselves however we want, being met back, or loving ourselves anyway when we're not met back. Because there were definitely times where some of us went with our weird expressions and people weren't there. But we still did it anyway. And so much freedom in that. And this directly translated to, like, for me, to my life, I know for my clients, to their lives, where, okay, I've now had these safe experiences in my body, in my nervous system, where I took these risks in relationships, in the way I behave, in the way I express myself. And my body knows it's safe to do that now. And so I can do that in my romantic relationship. I can do that in my friendships. I can do that at work. I'm not frozen with fear. I'm not being hijacked into a flight response, running away from the situation. I'm not pushing down my true desires because I'm too afraid of what people will think. I know in my body that I can be the truest, most badass version of myself, because my body has already had many safe experiences of that in the group dance therapy setting. And what a difference this is than being even in a group talk therapy experience, where, yeah, you might take risks in saying some things that may feel uncomfortable. So different than a talk therapy setting where you're talking about how you want to be, right? You're talking about how you want to behave or how you want to just feel more alive, feel more free in your life. But your body has no idea what that is. Your body has no idea what it feels like, nor does it feel safe to even try. That's what happens in more of these cognitive, intellectual therapies, where you talk or you think or even imagine and visualize how and who you want to be, but you have never had a direct experience. You've never had a physical, tangible experience. Imagine the difference that makes to actually become who you are in session before you even become it in your real life. So that when you do go out to talk to give a presentation at work, you can own who you are. You can exude embodied confidence. Or when you go back home to your relationship, your partner, your family, you can assert your needs. Your whole family wants to go out and have fun and do something wild. And you know in your body that you need to just rest. And normally you'd be like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But then, you can just say, you all have fun. I have to stay in. I have to stay back. And this ripples into your entire life, having this amazing connection and sense of what you need, being able to express that safely. And, a former client of mine who has now just joined my new membership program, her whole world has been turned upside down. In a good way, but also in a really scary way of like, wow, I no longer fit into any of the boxes that I've put myself into. My job, the people I've surrounded myself by. And she feels so insanely free and liberated from being able to start breaking out of these boxes after healing her trauma and rewiring her nervous system. But it's also like, she's on the way to emerging into the truest version of herself. You know, she's left what she's known and she's still on the way. So she's like in this middle place of now being like, okay, I know I don't belong in this old life, and I know there's a new life that I need to emerge into still. I'm still here. I'm on my way. And it's amazing, but yeah, it's definitely scary. And this is what happens when we shed old trauma layers, when we shed old layers of protection. It feels scary. It feels like, well, who am I now? It can feel like a lost little girl. But then there's so much space. There's so many possibilities now. There is the possibility of completely coming into who you are and who you have a sense you've always been, but have not been able to connect with them, with her, with yourself, because there's been so much fear. And if this is something that you really like to work on, if you're really tired of this way of life, kind of just barely surviving and just trying whatever you can to feel an ounce of something, fitting in, validation, and anyway, it's not really working. You still feel disconnected, numb, not really sure of who you are, ruled by expectations, by external expectations, shoulds, and all of that. I would love to invite you to come join my new membership program. It's called the Lasting Love Sisterhood. It was born out of my free online group, the Lasting Love Movement. And that movement is that every woman sheds old trauma layers and truly emerges into who they are so that they can have the most satisfying, fulfilling relationships with others. And of course, especially primarily themselves. And I created the Sisterhood, one, because a lot of people were asking me for a more affordable program, more affordable way of working with me. And also because I've basically taken the last 3 years of doing my work, my team's work with our clients. And I've put that into a low-cost, long-term program where you really can emerge into this truest version of yourself, learn how to exude embodied confidence and really embrace your weird and just no longer give what anyone else thinks. Not in a way of like, oh, I don't care about anyone else, screw you kind of thing. Not in a way that pushes anyone away, but by owning and softening into yourself, you actually bring people closer to you because you're no longer resentful of yourself or other people for contorting yourself into these different ways just to try to fit in and being disappointed anyway. It's like you're so confident in yourself that it doesn't matter if someone doesn't get it because you understand yourself so well. You know yourself so well. And it's just this level of self-love and acceptance that we get from doing these group dance therapy experiences that nothing else can ever give us. I truly believe that. And that's on par with the testimonials that my clients have given me. Being in their body makes them feel whole and alive in a way that nothing else can. I've gotten many, many pieces of feedback like that. It's a whole new way of being. And so in the Lasting Love Sisterhood, you get to emerge into that way of being with safety, with gentle guidance from me and from my team, and also the community. it's not just about me leading this. This is not just about me inviting you to a service that I created. There are 19 women in there right now. There's a real community coming together of this new family. This family that, yes, I've created, but that we're co-creating so that we can share ourselves in a way that we couldn't even with our own families. So that we can really be seen and supported and loved and accepted unconditionally for the first time, truly, in a way we've never had before. And so I'm inviting you to come join the Lasting Love Sisterhood. I'm a little late with this invitation because I tend to be really slow with this podcast, especially now being a new mom. But it's May 5th today, and the doors are closing on May 8th. So I'd love for you to come join us. It's $497 US for an entire year of support. So it's way cheaper than therapy, unless you're getting it for free. But it's just also way better. It's way more effective, way more efficient, and we will co-create a transformation that is deeper and more tangible than anything else could give you. Clients have said, even after 20 years of energy work, of talk therapy, mindset stuff, this movement was the missing piece. It helped everything else click in. So even if you've tried a whole bunch of things before, made some progress, didn't last, this is your missing piece. This is what you need. And even if you still aren't as sure as I am, there is a money back guarantee. You try it out for 30 days, and if you don't feel like it's a good fit, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. And I've never offered a money back guarantee before, but this time I am so I really created this program out of my soul, and I know exactly, the range of people who are so meant to be in there or meant to form this family together, that I believe if you don't feel you're a good fit, we'll know. And I know that's in the best service of everybody, for you to get your money back, for you to leave and find something better for you if the Lasting Love Sisterhood isn't a good fit. So there's really no risk. You get to try out for $0 if you, if it doesn't end up being right for you. And there is also a payment plan. So if you can't put the money up front, then you can do a payment plan. There's 4 payments of $137. So that's 4 monthly payments. And if you've been really resonating with this, I would love for you to come join. And I would love for you to come join the family, come home to your body, and become whole in a way that nothing else can do for you. So there is a link in the show notes, but you can also just go to oritkrug.com/sisterhood, and you'll find all the information there. Remember, doors close May 8th, right before midnight. So if this is calling to you, if you're feeling called to this, then please visit the link, come join us. All the information's there, FAQs are there, but you can always send me an email or a Facebook message to ask me any questions. I'm so happy to answer and just kind of discuss and see if this is a match for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you give yourself permission to be supported, to become fully you, emerged into the truest version of yourself, and of course, embrace your weird.